Hi friends, it's Cree, and today we are going to read a book together. Well, I'm going to read it, you're going to listen, but it's going to be great. We're going to have so much fun. We're going to cozy up. I'm cozy. I have my tea here and a sweater on, even though it's way too hot for one. And we're going to cozy up, and we're going to take a breath, and we're going to read a great story. I'm sending you love and hugs through the screen. I hope you're receiving that. That should be good. I hope that came through. And let's do it. Let's make things happen. So today we are going to read The King and I, which was written and illustrated by my very dear friend Sorel. A little bit about her in the author's bio here. Just for a little intro underneath this very, very sweet picture. Sorel was born and raised in Guatemala. She moved to Los Angeles to attend college and has been living and working there ever since. Today, she works as a script supervisor for sitcoms, such as Mr. Iglesias, streaming now on Netflix. Although Sorel has been telling stories her entire life, The King and I is her first book, and it's a good one. So let's jump in. Here we go. To my mother Blanca for gifting me this story, and to my dad Victor for making it come true. It's a girl, the midwife announced to the king, who was pacing the halls of his castle. It's a girl, and the queen is finally resting. The king stopped and breathed a sigh of relief. The queen had taken almost 25 hours to give birth to their baby. Whew. A very long time for a lady as frail and regal as his wife. He was happy she was well, but felt a wave of disappointment as he digested the 3 words uttered by the midwife. He had been hoping for a boy. The court's wise woman and seer of the future had told him many moons ago that he and his queen would have only one child. It's a girl, he heard again. The words became imprinted in his mind. The king sighed. Whom would he guide to be strong and wise? Whom would he teach to read and ride and sing and swim and row and fish and talk to the stars? To whom would he entrust his most important secrets? Who would continue to rule in his place? The midwife spoke again and broke into his thoughts. Your Majesty, you may see them now, but be brief. The queen needs her sleep. He turned and headed for their room. A girl, he thought, disillusioned. He entered his chamber and heard the screams of his newborn child. He looked toward the hearth and spied the small crib. He sighed and turned his gaze towards his queen. She was resting on a cloud of pillows, her fragile face then paler than the silver glow of the moon. Her eyes were closed and her breathing was even. He smiled and brushed a tender kiss on her lips. The queen opened her eyes. A blush of excitement colored her cheeks when she saw her husband's beloved face. Have you seen her? She whispered. No, he said, and looked away sad. The queen smiled. She understood what her husband was feeling. I know you had your heart set on a boy to follow in your footsteps, but listen, she said. Listen? She motioned weakly towards the hearth. After a minute, the king frowned because he couldn't escape the sounds coming out of the crib. Listen to her voice. She is strong. She is bright. She will make you proud. Here we have the king and the queen. It says, oh, how he loved his queen. He loved her. Wah, 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 said the baby. I apologize for those baby noises. She's right, thought the king. Her cries have strength and demand immediate attention. She reminds me of someone I know, said the queen. I'm hungry. I'm tired. I'm scared, the baby cried. I am all alone. Where is my mother's heartbeat? It makes me feel safe and warm. Where is it? I can't hear it. I can't feel it. I'm cold. I'm hungry. I'm mad, and all I can hear is the sound of my screams. They scare me. The more I cry, the more I can't stop. She shivered. I am so afraid. She felt a soft wind brush away her tears. Holding her breath, she decided to be brave and open her eyes. To her surprise, she found a big, straight, noble nose pointing directly at her face. 2 round nostrils blowing warm air in her direction. She forgot about her crying, and instinctively, her hands reached up. Strong grip, thought the king as he felt the little fingers tighten firmly around his nose. The little girl let out a delighted scream, and at that precise moment, they saw each other. A strong current went through the king's body as he looked into his daughter's eyes for the first time. And he was feeling some love. It was love at first sight. Father and daughter both felt it. This was a bond strong and special. The king had found his princess, and the girl had met her hero. The king touched her nose with his index finger. She smiled. So soft, he whispered. So gentle, she thought. The king let his finger run down her face and arm until he found the baby's tiny hand. She gripped his finger with a force that surprised him. I found the one that I'll teach to read, to play, to ride, to fish. You can see them fishing right there. To sing, to govern, to care for our people, to talk to the stars and to love, thought the king, his heart full of pride. The king kissed his daughter's hand and carefully, very carefully, picked the baby girl up in his arms and hugged her to his chest for the very first time. She sighed happily and within seconds was fast asleep, rocked by the rhythmic sound of the beating of her father's heart. The end. I hope you enjoyed this time together reading this wonderful book. I hope you enjoyed. I certainly had fun. And thanks so much for hanging out with me. Bye.